leader come to rescue all the nations and back up all their currency. Nigeria is known as a giant of Africa. With Bitcoin, we'll be giant of the world. Inksnation, the foundation. One united global family. As Inks, we invest in people and represent all colors in one. All race in one, no. All tribes in one, no. All denominations, religions, nations, and cultures in one. Therefore, to the Igbos I become an Igbo. To the Yoruba I become a Yoruba. To the Hausa I become an Hausa. I become a Christian, a Muslim, a black, white and Asia. Yes, I become all peoples in one.
Today's topic is the rise of the distributed reserve central bank digital currency. It's a very big, broad, and powerful topic, and I want us to remain glued to our screen as we learn the process. Yesterday, we talked about the global human asset tokenization, and today we're talking about the rise of the distributed reserve central bank digital currency. Now let's dive in. In today's topic, we will talk about what is a reserve or anchor currency. Remember, the topic is the rise of the distributed reserve. So first of all, we will treat what a reserve is. Then we'll now also go into what a central bank digital currency is. So from definition of reserve currencies, we'll move into reserve currency history. Then we'll talk about the US dollar as the current reserve currency and why it needs to be changed. We'll talk about Bitcoin as the world's first distributed reserve currency. Then we move into talking about what a CBDC or central bank digital currency is, the types of CBDC, then the countries that are experimenting CBDC. Then we'll move into our own type of CBDC, central bank digital currency. And from there, we'll talk about the advantages and examples of distributed CBDC, then line of action. Now let's go without wasting much time. So without wasting much time, we move to the definition of reserve currencies. A reserve currency, also known as anchor currency, is a foreign currency that a central bank or a treasury holds in large amounts as part of its country's foreign exchange reserve. Now, countries hold reserves for a number of reasons, including to help when there is economic shocks, to pay for importation, for imports, to service, to pay for her debts, and to moderate the value of their own currency. Many countries cannot borrow money or pay for foreign goods in their own currencies. So there seems much of international trade is done in the US dollar. That makes the US dollar the dominant reserve currency. What we talked about this in our two lectures. If you want to buy, if Nigeria wants to buy something from even maybe Turkey or any country, most times we have to buy whatever you're buying in dollars. So most pricings are always in dollars. So you use the dollar as a reserve currency. Now, the need for countries to hold reserves is to ensure a steady supply of imports during a crisis and assure creditors that debt payment is dominant in foreign currencies like the US dollar. Now, next, we'll talk about the history of reserve currencies. We said reserve currencies are currencies that serve as middle currency or middleman in between two countries. So the US dollar is the dominant middle currency for transactions, for different kind of transactions between countries. So, but there is a lineup of history of reserve currencies. That is currencies that have served as a global reserve for several periods in history. We are checking from 1450. From 1450, the Portuguese money was the reserve currency then. From 1450 to 1530, that was the reserve currency, and it served for 80 years. Then Spain took over from 1530 to 1640. That is 110 years. And after that, Netherlands currency, their money then took over from Spain in 1640 and lasted for 80 years. Then France, which is the France currency, lasted for 95 years from 1720 to 1815. Then Britain took over and it lasted, that's Britain pounds or thereabouts, lasted for 105 years. That is 1815 to 1920. Now, after 1920, the US dollar took over from 1921 to we are already in 2021. So we are a few days away from 2021. That is close to 100 years for the US dollar. Now, if you check the pattern from 1450 to 2020 or 2021, you'll find out that each of these reserve currencies have an average of 100 years, 95 to 100 years before they are changed. This information is very important. You will notice there is a pattern. Portuguese had 80 years, Spain 110 years, Netherlands 80 years, 95 years for France, 105 for Britain. Now we are in the US stage, and the US dollar has used close to 100 years already. That means it is at the verge of being changed. Now, that alone gives us the impression that even with the happenings in the world, you understand that truly there is need for changes for the next reserve currency to come up. Now let's talk more about the US dollar and why it needs to be changed as the global reserve currency. Number one is the world needs a new digital version of global reserve currencies. Since the world is going digital, lives. Number two reason why the US dollar as the current reserve currency needs to be changed is that the average lifespan of every reserve currency is 100 years and the US dollar has lasted for 100 years already. Number three reason is the US dollar has failed as a reserve currency in that it is a selfish reserve currency which fights for its own survival at the expense of all other currencies. This is one very important point. The US dollars, the system is created in a way that the US dollar gets its value or gets more valuable at the expense of other currencies, like giving other currencies issues in order for it to remain as reserve currency, because to it also, the meaning of reserve currency to the US dollar is that it makes the US dollar the world power. We need, number four, we need a reserve currency that can save other currencies from getting weak or devalued. Number five, the US dollar has diminished in value over time. What this means is that what you can buy with $100 10 years ago, you will need more than $1,000 to buy the same thing. So the purchasing power of the US dollar has been on a downturn. Then the US dollar is number six. The US dollar is built on the debt-based system. Every single country in the world has a level of debt that they are holding, and they even make debts called debt and assets. So in order for us to come out of the debt-based system, blockchain gives us the grace to either copy and paste what is currently existing, put it on a blockchain, as in create a blockchain version. That's copy and paste, or copy, paste and edit, or build something afresh. So that is three pointers of blockchain. It gives you the grace to copy what is existing outside the blockchain, for you to copy it, paste it on the blockchain, and create a blockchain version of that thing that is existing. The second is you can copy, after copying and pasting, you can edit or do some additions before you make it live, or you can totally build a new concept, a new idea, a new ideology, a new thing on the blockchain. So now we move to the solution, or the better version, or the new world reserve cryptocurrency. Now this is Bitcoin. Bitcoin pronounces itself as the world's first distributed reserve cryptocurrency. For those that like to compare Bitcoin with Bitcoin, they are two different things entirely, on two different missions. Bitcoin is not built with, in quotes, reserve in mind. It's not built with the mindset of it becoming a global reserve currency. even though from time recently people have been considering it because of the level at which it's going, that it might end up becoming the world reserve currency, but it wasn't built with that in mind. But pink coin was built with reserve system in mind, and that is built to make sure that people, companies, central banks, government would hold reserves. If you remember the definition of reserve currency, a currency that central banks hold a portion of it in order to aid cross-border payments, trading, and the likes. Like we know of Nigeria's reserve, when you hear national reserve, it's always in dollars. But now we are bringing a cryptographic or a cryptocurrency version of it, whereby people, nations can hold reserves of pink coin to their advantage and to the betterment of the economy. Now, pink coin, as the world's first distributed, the word distributed there means that it is not centralized. It's not one person that will just hold all the reserve. It is meant to be distributed amongst both the people, both the government, and the central banks. So, with that, it also serves as a payment token, whereby you can use it to buy goods and services in the long run. Then we call it the democracy of money, because it is money of the people, money backed by the people, money for the people. And when we say Bitcoin is money backed by the people, what we are saying is that it is the first cryptocurrency that is backed by human assets. It is the first currency in the world that is backed by human asset tokenization. And every single human being on the blockchain is tokenized at a minimum token value of $800,000 worth of the coin. So the name of the coin is Bitcoin. The blockchain that it is built on is called Inksledger blockchain. The total supply is 144 million coins. The consensus algorithm are proof of love and proof of AI. Proof of love is basically what we talk about, proof of love for humanity, human asset tokenization, converting human presence into living nodes on the blockchain, making price, using price determinant as birth rate versus death rate instead of supply and demand or pump and dump. Then we have proof of AI, which is instead of proof of work, we use proof of AI to confirm transactions. Then the hashing algorithm is SHA-256. It's similar to that of Bitcoin. Bitcoin is also SHA-256. Now, how is Bitcoin better than the US dollar as a reserve currency? First of all, it follows the new trends of central bank digital currencies and cryptocurrencies generally. Number two, Bitcoin is humanitarian and also aims to save all countries and their currencies by strengthening the currencies. So, Naira, if it is made into a CBDC, it becomes a very valuable currency. It does not depreciate anyhow. Now, Bitcoin uses birth rate versus death rate price determinant, which makes it a good store of value and continually on the increase. It does not fluctuate anyhow. It's not volatile, unnecessarily volatile, going up and down like we see with some currencies and cryptocurrencies. Now, Bitcoin recognizes all 180 currencies, fiat currencies of the world. Number five, Bitcoin is built on a strategic abundance monetary policy which overrides the debt-based system. This means that instead of debt accumulating debt, every country is indebted as we speak. Instead of accumulating debt, we'll be accumulating abundance for generations unborn. Number six, with the Inksledger financial system, there will be no more debt. Rather, we'll pass abundance to the generations that are coming. Number seven, Bitcoin is built on human asset tokenization. Number eight, Bitcoin comes with abundant national reserve from the inception. That is when a country decides that I want to build a central bank digital currency. From that very beginning of launching it, the country is starts it up with an abundant national reserve for herself and her people. Now, let's go into the topic CBDC. What is CBDC? CBDC stands for Central Bank Digital Currency, also called digital fiat currency or digital based current money. CBDC is the digital form of fiat currency, like your naira, your CD for Ghana, your pounds for UK, euro for Europe, and so on. So this is a currency established as money by the government regulation, monetary authority, or law. It uses a blockchain-based token to represent the digital form of a fiat currency of a particular nation. For example, we have Naira. You can create a digital version on the blockchain of the same Naira. So it will represent it and serve as a better way for the country to go cashless on blockchain. There are two major types of CBDCs. We have wholesale CBDC. Wholesale CBDC are when we talk about bank-to-bank transactions, like central bank to another central bank, or commercial bank to from a country to another commercial bank in another country. So it is for huge transactions that can also be called cross-border transactions. Then we have retail central bank digital currency. Those are the basic ones for it aids financial inclusion and peer-to-peer transactions. Me to you, normal daily transactions. I send money to you, you send to me, those kind of transactions. Then why should central banks issue CBDCs? Why should it be considered? Number one reason is in order to upgrade the central bank system to blockchain instead of remaining on IoT. It's good to upgrade to blockchain because in the coming years, any company, central bank, commercial bank that does not upgrade to blockchain might not survive. This is one of the areas where they get scared. But with ease of upgrading to CBDC, the earlier the better. A country will be able to save herself from annihilation. Central bank will be able to save herself from annihilation. Just like the Nigerian naira is seen to be depreciating, even we are getting more infos that it might still depreciate more further. This is the best time for a country like Nigeria to consider the CBDC as a plan B. Then number two, improve efficiency and security of payment systems. Number three, global currency reset. It's an opportunity for us to go back to the drawing board. Like even the IMF is talking about a new Bretton Woods system, which means that they acknowledge that the current system is faulty. It has a lot of errors, which COVID-19 has helped us to unveil, to see that truly there are lots of errors in the current banking financial system. So we need new system that will, so this system or this period with blockchain, we have an opportunity to sit down back to the drawing board and restructure a wonderful and powerful financial system, void of the errors of the current or the past system that we are undoing. Then number four, it will hasten financial inclusion for all, whereby those that there are still some people in the remote areas who still go keep their money under the bed, who do not even know about how to go cashless and all those kind of things. Some still disturb themselves daily. They have to go to the bank to queue up because they are not following the digital trend of doing transactions via transfers. Number five, CBDC built on blockchain is the best way for any country to go cashless. When you build your currency on the blockchain, it is the best way currently for any country to go cashless. Like the Nigerian government, they're talking about going cashless. If it is not built on the blockchain, it is still not complete because that is the new and most favorably secured platform to build your currency on. Number six, central bank digital currency prevents the annihilation of the central and commercial banks. So with CBDC, the central bank can key into the trend. Central banks and commercial banks can key into the trend of the times being built on blockchain, and with that they can prevent themselves from being annihilated by the general currencies like Bitcoin and so on and other singular cryptocurrencies. Number seven, it improves cross-border payments efficiency. That is, if you want to make payment to somebody in Turkey or outside Nigeria, at times it takes 24 hours for the fastest one. Sometimes it takes 5 days. So, but with this, you can have almost instant confirmation and transaction, whereby you send money to somebody in Turkey. If they are using the same platform or CBDC, it is perfect for instantaneous confirmation. Number eight, a CBDC would ensure that the public have access to legal tender if for some reasons cash were no longer widely available. Now we've talked about CBDC, we've talked about why it should be issued. Now let's talk about countries that are considering CBDC already. List of countries considering and researching on CBDC. That is those that are on track, those that are keying themselves into the technologies of the times. Let's see if Nigeria is there. In Africa, South Africa is on the list. Ghana, they are doing their research. Mauritius, Egypt, Tunisia, Senegal, Rwanda, Kenya, and Morocco. Nigeria is not on the list. We are still backwards. In Asia, we have a host of them: Cambodia, China, Hong Kong, Indonesia, Turkey, Japan, Singapore, South Korea, Thailand, Saudi Arabia, United Arab Emirates, India, Kazakhstan, Philippines. In Australia, Australia is also doing their research. In the Caribbeans, Anguilla, Antigua and Barbuda, Barbados, Dominica, Grenada, Montserrat, Saint Lucia, Saint Vincent and the Grenadines, Saint Kitts and Nevis, Bahamas, Republic of Marshall Island. In Europe, we have Denmark, Estonia, European Central Bank, Finland, France, Iceland, Lithuania, Netherlands, Norway, Russia, Sweden, Switzerland, Ukraine, United Kingdom, Germany, Italy, Malta, and New Zealand. These are the countries that are working, planning, researching on how to build their own central bank digital currencies. In the Americas, that's South and North America, we have Canada, United States of America, Argentina, Brazil, Ecuador, and Uruguay. All these nations are planning, fighting, researching, doing findings on what or how to build their CBDC. But Nigeria is not on this list. Now we move to the main topic of the day: distributed reserve central bank digital currency. Now, what is a DR CBDC? A distributed reserve central bank digital currency is a type of central bank digital currency built on the Inksledger blockchain, which is blockchain for human and non-human asset tokenization, which has Bitcoin as its anchor or reserve currency. It is a CBDC built out of human asset tokenization, also known as HAT CBDC. This means that every country that is building her CBDC on the Inksledger blockchain will, one, have Bitcoin as her reserve currency, two, will hold reserves. Automatically, immediately you formulate your CBDC, you'll be having a reserve portion of Bitcoin in dollars in your reserve. Inksledger uses bet rate versus debt rate as a new and more effective price determinant that aims to sustain the human race and give value back to humanity. All these are built on the Inksledger financial system. Now, benefits of the distributed reserve central bank digital currency. Each country gets to run Inksnode to manifest her CBDC. I remember the Secretary of State or thereabout of the USA, of the Secretary of the Currency or thereabout, he said that the central banks, instead of being annihilated, they will rather run nodes. And with those nodes, they can be able to run both their CBDC and sustain themselves in an age of blockchain and artificial intelligence. Number two, the fear of being annihilated by the likes of Bitcoin, Ethereum, and so on, cryptocurrency is reduced, because when you build your own CBDC, it is also on a blockchain. and it will be able to compete headlong with the likes of Bitcoin, Ethereum, and so on. Number three is each country gets a minimum of 0.5% and maximum of 1.8% of the global reserve in pink coin. When built, number four, there won't be need for supply of CBDC. What that means is that, but like Bitcoin, you have 21 million coins, but with this distributed reserve CBDC, you already have a reserve. So it is that reserve that would be converted into your your new CBDC. So if the reserve is in pink coin, if it's in dollars, if your CBDC is digital naira, it would have a procedure of converting it to naira right there in app or within the system. So you don't need to have, okay, you are mining 21 million coins or 200 million coins. You don't need all that. And that also makes it easy for it to be integrated in the current system. The current system has the digital version and the paper version. That's the fiat paper version has also a digital version. So it can be plugged straight up into the Inksledger blockchain to make it benefit from the reserve and with time systematically escort the paper part of it out of the system so that the country can go cashless. Now, number four says that each country's central bank will become custodians of a portion of the minimum of the reserve, which has comes with a minimum of $700 billion worth of Bitcoin. So every country will have abundance. Remember, these are the tokenizations of the people that the central bank will be holding as custodian. So it's like a reversal of the current system. The current system springs money out of nowhere, but here there is a reserve already that the central bank will be custodians of. Then your universal basic income will drop into your commercial bank accounts straight up. Number five, it can be plugged into the current digital version of your traditional fiat through APIs. I said that before. Number six, it will correct the debt-based system of the current system by replacing it automatically with a strategic global abundance monetary policy or system. Number seven, benefit of distributed reserve central bank digital currency is money won't spring out of thin air. There will be a reserve, a national reserve, that the country you want to allocate any funds or you want to do any project as the president or as the senate or as the governor, there will be a national purse, which is the general reserve of the people that can be used to purchase goods and services or to purchase national or to pursue national projects. Number eight, the DLCBDC is built on the Inksledger financial system as a hybrid permission blockchain, the Inksledger blockchain. So that means that the central bank can still maintain some regulatory power over it, which does not totally annihilate human involvement, but rather corrects some of the negativity of human involvement. Number nine, the system it corrects all the errors of the past system by most importantly making it humanitarian and not anti-human. One of the errors of the current system is We grew up to find out that it is actually anti-human. It favors a select few and ignores the rest of the world. Number 10, it comes with a minimum universal basic income of $320 for all her citizens. What this means is that every country that embraces it, automatically all their citizens will be receiving universal basic income, whether you're working or not. Which means that when AI finally takes over, there will be there will still be you still have funds to cover up for your daily needs, your daily bread, your children's needs, and all that. Number 11, it has features of wholesale, retail, and reserve CBDC. Other features include global human asset tokenization, first 13 central banks upgrades to universal reserve Inks node. It is not anti-government, it is friendly to government, friendly to central banks, it's friendly to commercial banks. In this new age of distributed reserve central bank digital currencies, artificial intelligence does majority of the work while we live like kings and queens. Then crime rate will reduce totally. And there is this ideology of a one united global family mindset. No discrimination, no segregation. Now, when we look at the news yesterday rather, the naira falls further in January, says Central Bank of Nigeria. And the reason why we are bringing this up is that this is the best time. So many countries some have launched their own CBDC. This is the best time for the naira to go digital, to become a CBDC, to become a central bank digital currency. But we are not focused on Nigeria alone. Any country out there, any government, any central bank that is interested or ready to try out the distributed reserve central bank digital currency, then we are ready for them. Now, with Nigeria as an example, we are saying if Nigeria embraces the Inksnationtelevision financial system, Nigeria, the first country, actually is meant to be the headquarters of the Inksnationtelevision financial system and will become one of the U14s, the Universal 14 major decision makers of the Inksnationtelevision financial system. Number 2 is all citizens will receive universal basic income monthly for life. That's if Nigeria embraces it. Every single citizen, no matter how small, they will receive universal basic income monthly for life if any country embraces it. Number 3, the distributed reserve central bank digital currency will still remain naira. That is, if, for example, Ghana says we want to build our own central bank digital currency, they would still maintain CD. It's just a digital version built on a more secure platform, blockchain. So it will still remain the same thing. It can be plugged into the current system and with time evolve into the full-blown central bank digital currency. Number 4, if Nigeria, for example, embraces it, Nigeria will become a powerhouse in blockchain and artificial intelligence. Number 5, civil servant salary system. This one is very important. The civil servant salary system can be paid without stress and on time. The government can plug in all civil servants' payments into the system and so that it relieves them of a lot of stress of having to want to pay the salaries of workers. Number 6, All distributed reserve central bank digital currencies will continually be on increase in value with every 18 million living notes milestone. So when there is 18 million living notes are human assets based on the human asset tokenization cryptographic structure. Every single person is a living node on the Inks ledger blockchain. That is that. So number seven, if a country like Nigeria embraces the Inks ledger financial system, the Nigeria interbank settlement system can end up becoming a global interbank settlement system, which can cover up for the SWIFT and SEPA and so on. And with that, Nigeria becomes a crusader of integrating the system in as many other countries as possible, giving them hope, giving them life, giving them chance of a better system. To wrap it up, line of action. The government can start with test run of the Inks ledger financial system by first of all building a salary payment system or integrating the salary payment system for civil servants, taking away the burden of having to pay civil salary. Today you hear ASU strike, it's because of salary. You hear doctor strike, it's because of salary. Either they are talking about salary is too small or there is no salary being paid at all. So, but with this, they say the government can actually key in the salary system of the civil servants into the Inks ledger financial system to even start with before you even go into the CBDC. You can start with that, then move into citizens receiving universal basic income. That those that are not working receive stipends, no matter how small, on a monthly basis. That will help as maybe COVID-19 relief fund or whatever fund we want to call it. Then number three, which is the final building of the distributed reserve CBDC after prior test runs of the other ones. And here we come to the end of today's lecture. I thank God I've been able to use my time well. I was able to use less than an hour. So, but the topic on ground is a very powerful one and a very unique one. It might not be easy to grasp everything at once, but with this, any country can come out of debt, can come out of poverty, can come out of the effect of COVID-19 on the world. Right now, we want to go into questions. Please ask your questions based on this topic. Thank you. If you have any comments, let's hear from you. Yeah, 2021 is the year of draw, your perfect positioning. So some people are asking what happens if Nigeria does not embrace Bitcoin. As it is, Bitcoin is already being positioned outside Nigeria. So we are not making the same mistake we made in 2020. We need to have as many options. We will not put all our eggs in one basket. So if Nigeria is not embracing it, there are already countries that we are already positioning ourselves. So with time, you will get to know about the, the way it has been structured. So, but we still hope that the Nigerian people, the masses, will wake up, and even the government will also wake up, because positioning the central bank digital currency, it can be positioned either through the central bank, which will be the best, or positioned through the masses. The one major part there is the reserve. The masses themselves can end up choosing their what Nigeria has been able to do currently is assuring herself of holding 1.8% of the global reserve, but she has not assured herself of a CBDC. So, if the masses hate poverty, if the masses like what the CBDC or the Inksnationtelevision blockchain or Inksnationtelevision financial system offers, they can do their own part by making sure that as many as possible within the Nigerian sphere embraces Bitcoin, because if dependent on the masses alone, it is going to need mass usage. Because if the government embraces it, it also results to mass usage. It means that everybody in the country will be using it. So it is a payment system whereby it works best when everybody in the country is using it, has been tokenized. So we can exchange our tokenization. That is for the human asset tokenization angle. So, but for the CBDC angle, the central bank has to come in fully, or the people themselves can decide that we want to build our own central bank digital currency, whether the government likes it or not. So, but it has to come in a forceful, maybe like in a heavy way that even the government themselves will understand the needs of the people. Like currently, we hear people agitating for legalization of Bitcoin. Maybe it's not strong enough. It needs to be strong enough to penetrate the House of Rep, the House of Senate, and so on. We're not using quantum computing. Someone is asking where the $800,000 coming from. Tokenization. That is the art of tokenization. Tokenization is representing something of value. If something is worth 10,000 naira, you can represent it on the blockchain as 10,000 naira. And that is it, it becomes money. All usage of funds starts in May because of the upgrade we are doing and repositioning. Everything will start in May fully. Well, I think we're done with today's lecture. I want to thank you all for attending, even though the turnout is reducing. We need to embrace information like this, especially now that we are stepping into a new year. You need to arm yourself with good information, good lectures like this to prepare yourself for the things that are to come. 2021 is going to be a blessed year for all of us, and I pray that the Central Bank of Nigeria, the government, would open their eyes and see. It's not compulsory they patronize ourselves, but we just want them to key themselves into the things of the times, technologies of the times. Let us plan how to build our own central bank digital currency, and with that, we can have a better world, a better Nigeria. This is the perfect time for it. Despite the fact we are using the global system, nobody sends us. When our naira is going down now, even if the system we're using is from US or from China or from what's it called, from UK, nobody sends us whether our naira is going down. no other country. They don't send us. So we need to fend for ourselves, fight for ourselves, build something that will favor us. And it's whatever the central bank says it wants to use as currency or wants to use as legal tender that becomes legal tender. So it is right time for us to make the right decision to better our lives and the future generation. Thank you. I remain your Universal Daddy Inc. Amos Selva no Omotade Sparks. Peace out.